This is Jon Stone with Stone Ranch and Heartbeat of a Hunter, and you're listening to the Son of a Blitch podcast.
Hello, John. How the heck are you doing today, man?
Man, I'm doing fantastic. I'm just glad to be in the company of George Blitch, the George Blitch. Tell you what, an old time friend. It's so good to see your face, my friend.
Yours as well, man. So, for those who don't know, which many people listening may not, John and I have known each other for at least 2 decades. That's right. We met when we were like 4 or 5 years old, and we've been playing soccer together. And John is one of the nicest people I've ever met in my life. That's kind of how I describe you. But you are a man of many talents, many things got going on. Why don't you give us a little bit of background, talk about your day job, and talk about a little bit of intro on the two things you got kicking these days that we're going to focus on and talk about, and that's the Stone Ranch and Heartbeat of a Hunter. So maybe you can give a little bit of background, kind of where you're, born and raised, and maybe how you got involved with your love of the outdoors, and then we'll kind of talk about the new projects you got going on right now.
Oh, fantastic. I appreciate it. Well, first, thanks for having me. I greatly appreciate that. And for your audience, I don't know if they know how incredible of a soccer player you are, an amazing drummer, traveled throughout the country doing such. So it's kind of a neat deal. One of these days, I want you to kind of tell more about yourself, because I mean, a lot of your listeners probably don't know what the diverse background that you have, but it's a lot of fun. So, including
Cheers.
the National Geographic. But I was actually born in Corpus Christi. So I was born in Corpus Christi until I was 5. Born in the same hospital as Farrah Fawcett. That was a big deal when I was in junior high. That I became one of the cool kids because I was born in the same hospital as Farrah Fawcett. But moved to Houston when I was 5, got hit by a car, lost my memory, the ability to smell. So I'm kind of a native Houstonian. So I've been here ever since. Took a quick sabbatical over at A&M and came back here afterwards. So my day job, I'm a commercial general contractor here in Houston. So since I wasn't busy enough, I still had 4 hours left in the day because I was only working 20 hours a day. I kind of, got into the outdoors. It was kind of a wild reason that I got into the outdoors, but we can go over that and then how we get into the brand as well. So you want me to go ahead and kind of tell you how I dove into the outdoors or?
Absolutely, Lan. I think this is quite the origin story. Why don't you go ahead and tell me a little bit about it?
Well, it's one of those chance in a million deal. My father had West Nile's virus. He was a workaholic, and so I kind of grew up doing the same thing, mowing grass, nights and weekends at the time when I was going to school. But he got bit by a mosquito, got West Nile virus, and then from there he got his meningitis, had a stroke. So he wasn't super fit. So anyway, fast forward. Unfortunately, one night they were in the Spring Branch area, and he's in a wheelchair, or sitting up. So bad guys broke into the house, put a gun to his head. So I'm going to blow your head off. And they asked if anybody else was in the house. He's not going to give my mom up. So they cracked his head open. They threw him on the ground. Cracked his chest. And so the only good news is they made so much noise, beating the hell out of my dad. I woke my mom up. So literally, my mom, I built a back door for them to ever get out. But instead of running out the back door and calling 911, my mom's kind of a badass. So she grabbed a gun and ran into the fire and ran those bastards off. And so anyway, I tell you that part of the story is because it was around Mother's Day. And in Houston, there's a radio station, 104 KRBE. They said, nominate your mom for Mother's Day. So anyway, I called in. Long story short, my mom won it. Rula nicknamed my mom the Warrior Princess. She loved it, so we kept the Warrior Princess name. But the reason I tell you that is my father, since he can't get around much, we moved him up to Crockett, and he loves, and both my folks love the outdoors. So I found a little piece of dirt right around where they lived, threw a high fence around it, and there's a little story on the development of that. But anyway, threw some animals on it so I could take some pictures and videos so I could show my folks and put smiles on their face. And that's all I really gave a damn about, is making them happy. So that's literally how I got into ranching. And I had no idea, but I figured, other human beings can do it. If they can do it, I can do it. It's just going to take a whole lot of hard work and focus. And that's how it started.
So you've got this land and you're like, all right, I'm going to develop, I'm going to bring all these animals on and kind of just create this to give back to those who gave so much to you. And I love that story. I love, the heart and passion that comes behind it and sharing that with your family. And, I want to talk about a little bit, you know, I know that, stage one, right? You buy this land and it's undeveloped. So you ended up doing a lot of development and kind of getting it to where you wanted to see, as far as, getting some water features on the property and looking at the elevation. So why don't you talk to me a little bit about that? Like when you're sitting there at a blank canvas, and just kind of your Google Earth image or whatever it is that you're looking at, and then you decide, okay, I'm going to go ahead and develop this. What was your goal in mind? And what were some of the things that you were doing at the very onset of that to be able to create this?
So when I started, I wanted to get a place close to my folks so I could get them over there or take videos and pictures and go see them. So I found a piece of property that was close, and it was right on the lake by Houston County Lake. So it was perfect location, close to them. And then so I bought it, and when I look at it, in order to develop it, it's just solid trees. So I got a topography map because you're not going to fight God. I'm going to see what God gave me. So God gave us this topography. I looked at it, and then I got a protractor out, really, and most people can shoot or see either with binoculars or a gun 100 yards. So I took a protractor out and I looked at the topography. Then I started drawing arcs and circles so I could put feeders and I could put blinds. I looked at kind of where the low areas were, so I could dig those out and create water features and lakes and streams and ponds and catfish ponds and bass ponds. So anyway, I drew all that out, and then I went to a timber company, and I brought the timber company in, and I had them clear where I wanted the pastures. So then, of course, it has to flow, So none of all the blinds are facing different places. You're not shooting at one another. You're pointing down, not near one another. So then we cleared it all, and then I got track goes in and pulled up all the stumps because we're gonna, create food plots and stuff for the animals so they're healthy. And then we pulled the track hose in and got all the the stumps out, and then we seeded it, and it was kind of a wild deal. And then we stocked the pond, so we pulled a 12-pound 4-ounce bass out of the trophy pond. So for people that don't know that, a 12-pound 4-ounce bass is very nice. It's a nice bass. So we have catfish pond, a bass pond, and stuff like that. So anyway, then I could grab my folks and either drag them over periodically. The recovery was a little too hard, but I could take videos and take them over there. So I saw how much fun it was for my folks and how much they enjoyed it. And I've always been a firm believer is if you have something, you have to share, because it's really, really tough to develop stuff. And you and I are blessed. We've worked very, very hard, but everybody's not so fortunate to be able to have done this. Now, granted, we sacrificed a ton to do that, but man, I really want to share. I'm selfish. When I see people's smiles, that's what makes me happy, So what I do now is like every time on the high fence, and there's a ton of animals in there. It's kind of like I was starting to build a park for a while. We had two bongos, two sable, two bison, and we got tons of whitetail and axis and fallow and black buck antelope. But every time I see kids outside the fence, they're all looking inside, looking at the animals, and I'm a sucker. If you're a veteran, if you've been in the armed forces, if you've been on the police, or if you've been kids, or if you've been sick, I'll do anything to help you. So if I see kids out there on the fence, and I'm either running the fence line or setting a snare or whatever, I'm like, hey, do you want to see some animals? And they're like, oh my God. So we'll open up the gate, we'll throw them in the back of the Polaris or the Can-Am or whatever we've got, and take them around and just create those memories for them. Because, I've had so many people tell me, and the people that I've brought up and the families I've brought up, that it was once in a lifetime memories. We're taking pictures with bongos and bison, and it's kind of like that's what keeps us going, is the fact that so many people have had such a good time. So that's really the reasoning behind it, is puts people's smiles on their faces, and selfishly that makes me happy. So that's why we keep doing it.
Well, and you've built this and there's been so much success with that. And then I think, you probably realized along the way at some point that, there's gonna be a lot of folks who might want to come out here and stay for, weekends or week, or whether it's a retreat. And we'll kind of talk about what you're building as well here in a second, because, there's the idea of like a wedding venue. When is it that you kind of had that shift to being able to open it up and have that be something that you'd be sharing with the general public in that sense. And what is that looking like as far as what you're building and currently? Let's just chat about that a little bit and kind of give people an idea of those who might want to come check this out, how they can do that, and what that looks like.
What caused that shift was my protein bill.
I know what you're talking about.
But yeah, when I looked at my protein bill and my corn bill, like, oh my God. So that was, but that was the shift. So what we've done is we've got something that we call the annex, and the annex, it's on Houston County Lake, and it's on the 3 acres on a point in Houston County Lake. So that's what we, for the longest time, I would have my friends and family and clients and everybody I could just come stay with me at my place. Then my place is right by the ranch. But then we secured the annex, which is right next to it, and it's right by the ranch, but it's on the lake. So now what we do is we've listed that on Airbnb, and we did that literally within the last week, let's call it. But for the ranch, when we bring people in and people we have different packages. So we've got individual packets, or if you want to, if it's a couple, or if it's a bachelor party, or if it's a group of girls, or whatever, we have the annex. It's got 6 beds in it, and what we do is we offer different packages for the ranch. And I mean, there's a lot of girls that I know that haven't had the same opportunities as guys, when they're growing up, but they love to fish and they love to hunt. So there's been a group of 6 girls, and they said, "Hey, can you help us, either set up with the fishing or the hunting. We've got rifle ranges, we've got skeet throwers, all of that stuff." So what's happened is this has turned into not only just my friends and family, but groups of guys and groups of girls or little corporate retreats or whatever. They'll rent the place. And then I've got packages across the street where literally I'll tailor it to whatever they want to do. So we've got all sorts of different amenities where you can either have the bison experience or the leaky experience or the rifle range or shooting skeet or the kayaks or the trophy bass pond or the catfish pond. All of these things are options. So we tailor make that to whoever the group is. So it's been a lot of fun that way. But what's really cool, there's a lot of parents that have kids and they want their kids to go fishing, but they didn't really grow up fishing. So they may not be as competent in that, but we are. So they'll sign up, or if they say, "Hey, I want to take my kids fishing," we'll take them over to the ponds and we'll bait hooks and we'll help them, teach them how to fish and pull the fish off. And the bass pond, we let people catch and keep certain amounts. And the catfish pond is unlimited, and it's kind of a catch and cook type thing where they catch as many catfish as you want and cook them and have a blast. I went fly fishing once, and really what I thought was, we were up there and these guys were celebrating their 15th year and their 20th year. Every single year, they got that group of guys and went up there and fly fishing. And I was like, wow, how cool is that? So, we want to be able to do the same thing where you have your favorite group of girls, whether they're, in whatever clubs they're in, whether it's be shooting clubs or fishing clubs or just your girlfriends that you go to yoga with, but you get to spend a week with them or 3 days or 4 days. And if we can create an environment that they look forward to it every single year to come out there, and then we can help them. If, there's certain people that, they may not be as proficient with rifles or pistols or fishing. And I mean, a lot of the girls that we've taught how to shoot guns and rifles, oh my God, George, just the fact they get so stoked. They're like, I feel empowered, because there's a lot of people that don't really know how to even defend themselves. And going back to my mom, when that happened to my mom, we lived in a neighborhood and I paid for the entire neighborhood to go to as Athena at the time. And we rented, a few of the instructors and several of the lanes, because the most important thing is if you're going to have a gun, know how to shoot it and be safe. You have to be safe. So literally, we paid for everybody to go there to learn how to shoot guns. So now when everybody comes up the ranch, if they want to learn, we teach them, so therefore it's the equalizer. If you just want to be safe, you want all the girls to be safe, the guys to be safe and be able to be, confident in helping themselves. So that's been a really, really big joy Like I said, predominantly the girls, teaching them how to shoot and letting them be able to defend themselves. But like I said, probably the most fun is taking kids around, throwing them in the back of the buggies. You're 2 feet, 3 feet from bison. Their eyes are like this, their smiles are like that. I mean, it's freaking off the charts, and it's so funny because a lot of the parents, I'm like, I'll tell the kids, hey, anytime you want to come back, or I'll be telling stories, the parents like, wait, can we come back? I'm like, yeah, you can come back. You don't have to bring the kids, but because they want to bring their friends. So I'm just trying to create an environment where groups of people can come every single year and just be looking forward. Like, when we were growing up, if you went to camp or whatever you did, you got to see your buddies. And if you got to look forward to doing this every year and reserving the place, and you have all the different amenities to do that, where else can you go and play and pet, with bongos and bisons and see the sable and like some of the background, those are the deer that we have, out at the ranch. They're not little bitties, little bitty babies, they're pretty substantial. So, we've got areas that different parts of the ranch that, the animal feeding is one of the all-time favorites. All the families, we have family reunions out there. We go out there and have the evening animal feed. So we go out there with corn and animal crackers and sit there with all the animals around them. You'll have 100 animals around you just eating. And it's a photographer's dream. I mean, the photographers love it because you can get so close to the animals, whether you want to take pictures of fish or whitetail or black buck or any of those, the bongos, that's been a massive hit.
I mean, I totally know what you're talking about in this sense. Like, there's nothing like introducing somebody to the outdoors that hasn't had that experience. And where you're located, I mean, you're not far from the trifecta of big cities in Texas, right?
Right.
It's not a far drive from Houston, Austin, Dallas, any of these places where people, San Antonio, and to be able to experience this, to get up close to nature, have a chance to do some shooting, have a chance to do some fishing, exploring, hiking, walking around, and just the wonderments of, the great outdoors. And then, you're taking another level too of that too, where that camaraderie they can have from these annual trips or whatever it is. But you also are creating a venue that will be able to host weddings. And I'd love to talk about that because that's a whole nother level of this and what you're going to be bringing to the table when that, is finally finished. And why don't you talk to me a little bit about that? I know you're in the middle of developing that, and I'd love to hear you talk about that. And then I'd love to talk about Heartbeat of the Hunter after that.
Sure. Thank you, sir. Yeah, you're right. We're right between Dallas and Houston. So normally a lot of the ranches are all South Texas, and you're driving 4 or 5, 6 hours to get down there.
Mhm.
So that's been a huge draw, is just being a couple hours from Houston, and then same with Dallas. I mean, there's a huge draw there, and people don't want to drive all the way down to South Texas. Nothing against the South Texas ranch. They're gorgeous and they're
Sure.
massive, and we've all been there. So it's fantastic. But man, this is like a long commute in Houston, so it's
Mhm.
not a bad deal. But so what we're doing is like right now, like you can go one of two places. There's the Airbnb that you can get to it from there. But at Stone Ranch TX, which is our website, we've got different packages, so there's individual packages, there's nightly stays, and what basically it's the private ranch experience, because what we do is we shut the ranch down for you. Most ranches, you're part of groups and they're still fun. There's different groups and you get to share and everything else like that. The differentiator is this ranch, we shut it down, it's for you. So if you want to go left, you want to go right, you want to go shoot, you want to do whatever you choose to do, we can do. So it's having your own ranch, and that's spectacular. Everybody has loved that because, like, wait, we don't have to share, it's ours. They're like, yes, that's right. So right now through there, we have packages that, you can go ahead and rent it for as long as you want. I mean, do either weekends or, there's corporate retreats. People will come from Monday to Thursday or Monday to Wednesday, and we'll set up, projectors and stuff. But what we did is right now we're building a 10,000 square foot. Basically, it's a lodge, and it'll have 6 bedrooms. And in the back, the way we have it set up, you can fit probably up to 120 people. So you can really fit probably 150, but I'd like to keep it down to 100, 120 or so. And what that is, it's for a wedding venue, so both that and corporate retreats where you can rent the lodge. And then we also have everything that's available at the ranch. So basically you can have all your corporate meetings in the morning and then go across the street and we can go fishing. We can go hiking. We can go see animals, feed animals, anything like that. And on the ranch itself, we have what we call an amphitheater, and we're building stair-stepped overlooking the water. So there's a big deck on the bottom, and we're building that now, or within the next few months. So there's a deck on the bottom, and it's tiered, so people can sit down, kind of like an amphitheater, like you see a lot of times when you're doing your concerts, and it's overlooking the water. So literally, when that's done, you can sit down there and people can get married there as well. And we'll drop corn in the background. So I can imagine seeing Romeo and Juliet getting married down there and having all sorts of, whitetail and deer and animals all in the background across the water. It'll be spectacular. So, and then the lodge, of course, that's, like I said, it's 10,000 feet. You can have receptions there. You can have quinceaneras there. You can have all of that stuff. So it's going to be a lot of fun. So it'll probably be first quarter 26, maybe third quarter, depending how, or fourth quarter, depending how quickly we get it done. Amphitheater is starting to work on that as well. So there's a ton of stuff going on. And that's, of course, my day job, like I said, I'm a general contractor. That's what I do every day. And, on nights and weekends, we're kind of developing the ranch and then the outdoor lifestyle brand that I was telling you about.
If you weren't busy enough, now you've got this amazing brand that you're launching. You've already done some shows. You got some more coming up too. It's very exciting. Some amazing apparel, jewelry, all sorts of things. So just kind of dive into that. And when did that start? When did that kind of idea click? And what was it about that made you want to run with that and build this brand?
So first, it's my folks' fault because I'm doing this for my folks. We're going to blame everything on them because I wanted to make them happy. But while trying to make them happy, I've also made myself happy because I experienced the love of the outdoors. My only love for the outdoors as I was growing up was mowing grass, kind of a different love. So the love of the outdoors now is being out there with all the animals and seeing them and feeding them and nurturing them and taking care of them and defending them. We'll get into the defense of them later on against the coyotes, against the diseases, against all of that stuff. It's all part of the management. But heartbeat of a hunter, we're all hunters. Whether you're hunting for the perfect spouse or you're hunting for the perfect photograph or the perfect dinner or the perfect animal, whatever it is, we're all hunters. We're hunting for happiness. So the heartbeat of a hunter is, we're hunting the outdoors, the experiences. So one of the things, like for the hunters themselves, it's kind of a neat deal. Like if you're trying to pull a trigger, it happened to me the other night. I was trying to defend the animals and we have to take out coyotes because coyotes, unfortunately, they try to take out your fawns, whether it doesn't matter which fawns, whether it be whitetail or whatever. So I'd rather harvest a coyote than let that coyote eat an animal alive. That's no way to go. So when you have something in your scope and right before you're pulling that trigger, your heart's just beating. And I mean, that's that heartbeat of a hunter is like, it's that adrenaline fix, same like when you met your wife, you've been hunting your wife for, however many years, luckily you met your beautiful wife when you were younger, and so you've been married for a long time. It's been beautiful. But when you met her, your heart's just freaking pumping, so that's what the whole logo is. I mean, it's the heartbeat of a hunter. Our logo is about the outdoors. It's with whitetail, waterfowl, bass, fishing, etc. And it has the heartbeat going through it because that's what makes our heartbeat is being in the outdoors. So that's kind of how it started. Everybody that saw the logo was like, "Oh my God, I love that! I love that! I love that!" So I was like, you know what? Just like I wanted to share the ranch, I want to share that experience and that logo with other people. So basically, what we've done is we've created all sorts of merchandise. There's apparel such as this. There's hats. You're representing well. I love the hat. We've got jewelry. I mean, one day we hope to be with the outdoor elites of the world. Your Hannah Barons, your Eva Shakis. I mean, those girls are amazing. I like to visit with them about the brand. Because it's the love of the outdoors. But we have knives. We've got all sorts of neat merchandise. We have it all on the site. So we went to the Houston Safari Club and launched it in their convention, and it was extremely well received. So it's been a lot of fun. So now we're trying to, increase the brand awareness. We're trying to, we'll increase some of the different things that we're that we're carrying as we grow. So I mean, that's been a lot of fun. So, really it's the day job, and then we on the weekends we try to take people out at the ranch. If they want to go during the week, we've got people up there that'll host them, so they can. Right now, there's 6 bedrooms in the annex, is what we call it, and it's literally on 3 acres on a point on Houston County Lake. I mean, it seems so private. So I mean, if you see the pictures of it, everybody freaking loves it. They're like, man. So we sell packages through StoneRanchTX.com. And then we also offer it on the Airbnb if it's not busy during the week, because there's also a day pass that we'll let people come out there, and they've got access to the ponds, and we'll take them for some of the safaris, and do the animal feeding and stuff like that. So we're trying to make it so we can share as many people as we can, pay for the protein bill, hopefully a little bit left over for the electricity bill. And but it's been a lot of fun, and it's been so well received. We get texts and letters that, literally, there's a gentleman out there the other day, and he had his grandson and their friends. And I got this beautiful text, and these were people that lived in Bel Air. But I got the beautiful text that, these kids, they said they had the time of their life. I mean, they had never had a better time, and, these are kids that have done a lot of stuff. So we knew we were doing something right when it's kids that are exposed to a lot of different opportunities, around the world. And they said, hey, that was the time of their life. Now, granted, they were fishing for bass, and they had bison just walking around next to them. So that probably a little bit of adrenaline rush. So they probably had something to do with it, but they had a great time, and that's why we do it. We want to share, and we want to let as many people be exposed to this as possible. I want to help as many girls as we can learn to defend themselves and empower themselves. So we do anything we can to help with them. The guys, I mean, just like I said, when we went fly fishing, it was just fun to see your buddies every year, give them something to look forward to. So, we're creating an environment that people can create lifelong memories and look forward to things every year.
Why don't you go ahead and tell real quick, everyone, where they can follow you as far as like on socials, so they can kind of see the more updated things than maybe just the website.
Sure. Well, the main thing is StoneRanchTX.com. That's the website for the ranch. And then heartbeatofahunter.com is the website for that type of merchandise. And then there's basically at Heartbeat of a Hunter and at Stone Ranch. Those are the socials, for as far as Instagram and Facebook. I think we have both of those going.
Cheers, man. Well, thank you so much, John. And again, everyone, go check out the show notes below. And, we'll have you back on. We'll do some updates, and, make sure that you guys follow my socials as well. I'll be sharing a lot of the updates, especially as the venue's getting closer together, when you guys can go and have the perfect wedding at the Stone Ranch. Can't think of a better place to do it, man. So, hey, thank you once again for joining me today, John, and you have a blessed day, sir.
Thanks, brother. Take care.
Cheers.
Cheers.